All right, let's talk about something I think we've all felt at some point, even if we've never really put a name to it. We're going to dive into the psychology of being the backup friend and really get into the nitty-gritty of why this whole pattern is just so common. So let me just start by asking you this, and be honest with yourself. Have you ever had that little nagging feeling that you're not someone's first call, but you're the one they dial up when their other plans fall apart? You know what I'm talking about. That exact feeling is the key to everything we're about to unpack. Okay, so let's give this thing a name. We're going to call it the second choice feeling. This is our starting point, just putting a label on that really uncomfortable and, yeah, often unspoken experience. I want you to picture this for a second. Your phone lights up. It's a friend asking if you're free tonight. And for a split second, you get that little spark of excitement, right? You're wanted. But then, as you keep talking, the story starts to come out. And it becomes painfully clear that, you weren't part of the original plan at all. You're the pinch hitter. The only reason they called is because their first choice couldn't make it. And that right there is the moment. It's not just, oh, you're disappointed. No, it's that very specific, familiar sinking feeling in your gut. It's the moment you realize where you actually stand. And look, when that happens again and again, it can be really painful.
So the big question is, why does this happen? And maybe more importantly, why do we sometimes let it happen? To really get it, we have to look past the situation itself and dig a little deeper into the fear that's driving this whole dynamic. And that is the fear of being replaced.
Now, in psychology, this fear actually has a name. It's called rejection sensitivity. And listen, this isn't just about not liking rejection. I mean, who does? This is something much deeper. It's a really intense anxiety about being pushed out, of being left behind by your social circle. People who have high rejection sensitivity, well, they're kind of always on high alert for it, sometimes even seeing rejection when it isn't really there. It's this constant nagging fear that you're just not going to be good enough. And the anxiety isn't about some big traumatic fight or a huge falling out. No, it's the fear of being quietly swapped. It's this idea that one day the texts and calls just kind of stop, and you've been seamlessly replaced without anyone ever saying a word. It's the terror of just fading away, of becoming invisible to the people you care about. So when you're living with that kind of deep-seated fear, you naturally start to develop a defense mechanism, right? A strategy that's designed to make you absolutely essential. And this is what we call the strategy of overgiving. And if you think about it, the logic seems pretty solid at first, doesn't it? If you're terrified of being replaced, well, the solution must be to make yourself so incredibly valuable, so completely essential that getting rid of you would be unthinkable. You set out to become the most helpful, the most reliable, the most giving friend that anyone has ever had. And this strategy, it has very clear steps. It's not just about being a nice person. Oh no, it's about being proactive to the point where it's almost exhausting. First, you anticipate what they need before they even know they need it. Second, you always go above and beyond what anyone would expect. And third, you do all of this with one underlying goal: to weave yourself so tightly into their lives that they literally can't imagine it without you. The mission is to become utterly indispensable. And that brings us to the final picture. This is where it all comes together. When you combine that deep fear of being replaced with this intense strategy of overgiving, you create a very specific kind of person, the irreplaceable backup friend. So here it is. This is the complete architecture. It's basically a psychological survival tactic. Your intense rejection sensitivity becomes the fuel for a strategy of overgiving, and it's all just a desperate attempt not to get quietly swapped out. The irony, though, is that you become so good at being the backup, so reliable, so irreplaceable in that specific role, that you actually end up cementing your spot as the second choice. And that really leaves us with one last and, I think, pretty crucial question to think about. This whole structure, this entire elaborate defense mechanism you've built, it all depends on someone else for validation. So what happens to your own sense of self when your personal architecture is built on a foundation as shaky as that? It's definitely something worth thinking about.